Today we're diving into Walkie Talk. Alright people, let's get into it. I am Garrett and today's video is brought to you by Hollyland's Solidcom C1. More on that in just a little bit, but today we are talking about Walkie Talk, how to appropriately communicate when on a film set. Now, when you're starting out and it's just you, obviously, no need to communicate with other people. And as you grow, when it's you and a couple of friends, there's usually enough of you and you're in a small enough environment that you can effectively communicate without the need for anything. But as you grow as a filmmaker, as you build within your career, all of a sudden communication becomes much more important and much more complicated. And that's because we have a lot more people involved in the making of a production. The reason why there is an industry standard version of lingo is because we want to keep our communication lines as open and free as possible. We don't want to clutter it with a bunch of chatter and distract people from their individual roles. So the idea is to keep things short, concise, and to the point. Everything that we're going to be talking about today falls into that category. Diving into the basics of conversation. Whenever you turn your radio on, the first thing you need to do is a check or a radio check. And that simply is to call into your microphone, radio check. Someone on the other line is going to then respond with good check. That allows you to know that both the microphone and the speaker of your radio is working properly. You need to do this anytime you turn your radio on. You would be amazed at how many times you either haven't properly turned it on or you're not on the correct channel. So radio check, good check, that lets us know everything is functioning. When you have been told something or asked to get something or someone, you need to make sure that you confirm whatever that request was. And we do this by saying copy. Sometimes you'll hear 10-4, but copy is used a little bit more regularly. So if somebody says, I need X, Y, and Z, it's directed at you, you would then say copy. That lets everyone know you heard and understood the request. Don't say copy just to say it. If you need to understand something more clearly or you didn't hear it the first time, you can ask someone to go again. Going again simply is a request to say repeat that. When you have finished chatting, make sure that you say over. This lets the person on the other line and the rest of the people on your channel know that that bit of dialogue is now done. If you're trying to reach someone specifically, it's important to state your name and then the name of the person that you are trying to reach. This lets that person know not only that they're the ones being requested, but that you are the one that's asking for them. And the way that we do that is we say my name, or the person who's making the call, for another person's name. So Garrett for John lets John know that Garrett is the one asking for them. To respond to a direct request, you would simply say go for John, right? So Garrett for John, John hears that and says go for John. That means that John knows that I am trying to talk to them. A couple of numbers that are important. When somebody asks for your 20, that simply means where is the location of the thing that's being requested. So if I say Garrett for John, go for John, what's your 20? I'm now asking John where they are. Before we continue with basic conversation, and there is more to go over, first I want to give you a word from today's sponsor, which is Hollyland. And what we're talking about is the Solidcom C1 system. The system works to just over 1,100 feet or 350 meters line of sight communication, which means that you're going to have strong signal no matter really what size set you're working on. They also have built-in encryption. Don't know how it works. Somebody smarter than me can probably figure that out. But the nice thing with that is that nobody's going to be able to jump on your channel that isn't on your film set. So nobody's going to be able to listen to the chatter and they are not going to be able to join in on it, which is really good, especially depending on the type of work that you're filming. The Hollyland Solidcom C1 system is built around this, the base station. Boom. On top here is the power, right? We have two NPF or Sony L plates. This allows you to have hot swappable power. I cannot tell you how great that is. This never has to go down. In the middle, we also have a gold mount bracket. This means we can plug in a nice big brick battery. You can also get this in a V-mount, so if you're in a V-mount system, you absolutely can. Gold mount's a little bit more prevalent on larger sets, which is why this defaults to that. But if you did want to do V-mount, you absolutely could. Having the hot swap ability is fantastic. Looking at the front here, we have our dial here, which goes from off all the way up and back. A color LCD display here, which gives us lots of information about the system. Arrows, a 5-way pad to then navigate the menu on the screen. We then have 2 channel buttons, A and B, because we can then group our headsets into different groups here. We have a headset in. That headset in is for a wired headset, so then that way whoever is controlling the intercom system can communicate with everyone. Big intercom button there, which then communicates to everyone. Backside switching cameras over here. We have 2 antenna in. These are detachable antennae that are there. Next to that, we have a wire 4 and 2 RJ45 ports. We have a USB-C port. We have a 2-wire and a PGM in, as well as the on-off toggle and our DC power on the back. I usually put this in Video Village. This is where that lives. And then of course, everything else is wireless from there. Speaking of wireless, those headsets look something like this. So on the one side, we have kind of a temple pad. This is also the battery compartment here. So you can see I can open this up. This door slides open, and when that door slides open, I can take a battery like this that simply slides right into there, and this latch is closed. The nice thing is, no matter what the Solidcom configuration is that you're getting, it will come with double the battery. So in this case, I have an 8 headset set, and so it comes with 16 batteries. This allows all of the headsets to have battery power in them and have a set of batteries ready to go when those batteries begin to die. The remote headsets are going to get 10 hours of battery life, and the batteries only take 2.5 hours to charge. We can get a full day out of that because it also has this charger that I can then continuously have batteries charging on. So as batteries go down and we're trading batteries throughout the day, I can constantly be charging those batteries here, and we can have all day power for all of our headsets. Now that we have a battery here on the temple side, on the other side, this is where we actually have our intercom system. You'll notice that I have this really nice over-ear cup that's attached to it. This is a fantastic feature. It also has a foam pad like this. This is what standard comes on this. I prefer the over ear. That's just personal preference. It doesn't really matter. You can do whatever it is that you want, but we can then just slide that in like so. On one side, on the back of the ear cup, I have a USB Type-C port. On the opposite side of that, I actually have a power toggle. This is why doing radio checks is so important. If you forget to toggle that on, you're going to think you're talking to a bunch of people and nobody's going to be able to hear you. So make sure that you power that on. Once that's powered on, do your radio check. Okay? To activate the microphone, all you do is you simply pull it down. When I pull it down, it activates the microphone. I can say what I need to. When I am done speaking, I simply bring it back up. There is a subtle click in ear when you pull it down and when you set it up that it lets you know when your microphone is down or up. If you don't hear the click, you're not really gonna have a good time. There's also an indicator light here right in front of the microphone. Let me show you here. You can see here, there's an indicator mic that then lets you know that that mic is hot. If somebody forgets to put this up all of the way, that's when you call out keying to let them know that their mic is still on. On the side here, we then have a couple of buttons here. We have A and B, which are going to be our groups that's switching between one channel and another channel. And then you have this plus and minus, which is going to be your headset volume. That allows you to control, obviously, how deaf you want to go and how quickly you want to do it. But this is a fantastic compact solution for that. And the nice thing is that it can go either way. So depending on what ear you want it on, there is no right or wrong way to do it. If I want it here, it works the same way. This just comes down on the other side. Of course, this is fully adjustable here. So then that way, depending on the size of your dome, if you got a big dome like me, this will still work. If you got a small head, congratulations, more hats will fit you. All of this packs neatly into little bags, like this guy. And that all goes into that SKB hard case. Back to our lingo. If you need to go to the restroom, it's a thing that happens all the time. We have two terms for that. We have 10-1 for number 1 and 10-2 for number 2. Don't just disappear. Don't leave. Let the person who is directly above you know where you are going. So then that way, if somebody's asking for you, we already have an answer to where you are. Again, 10-1, number 1, 10-2, number 2. So if I'm taking a 10-1, that lets everybody know I am taking a break to relieve myself and I will be back. But be quick, don't dawdle. Speed is the name of the game, both in terms of our walkie lingo and in the efficiency on a film set. So sometimes you will be asked to get something or someone or what have you. You will respond copy, knowing that you have heard and understood that thing, and then you go off to do said thing, at which point somebody is going to follow up. If you are still in the process of working on whatever that request was, you simply respond with on it. This lets the person know that you are currently working on whatever was requested of you. Similar to on that is stand by. Stand by is another way of saying wait while I finish whatever this is, or wait while I do this thing. Just like stand by, standing by lets that person know that I have understood that I need to wait for whatever the thing is that you are doing. So I am standing by, I am waiting until that thing is done, found, gotten, what have you. If someone keeps their microphone active and everybody can just kind of hear what that person is doing because they haven't disengaged their mic, that is called keying. And you can let that person know that they are keying. That lets them know to check their microphone, to turn it off, to make sure that we're keeping all of our channels clear. The next one you're going to hear is eyes on. Do you have eyes on this? Do you have eyes on that? That simply means, has anybody seen this? Does anybody know where this is? A term you're going to hear a lot is flying in, and this just means I am bringing something into set. Something's been requested of you, you are grabbing something off of the truck or whatever, and you're bringing it onto set. You would let people know that that thing is coming into set by saying flying in whatever that is. Flying in this light stand, flying in a camera, flying in whatever the thing is. The inverse of that is removing something. So you'll be asked to take something out. And there are two terms for that. One is called striking. So if you want to strike something, it is to remove it. If you want to 86 it, it is also to remove it. So if you need to take something away, or somebody's asking you to take something away, you will be told to either strike it or 86 it. It means the same thing. Generally, if somebody wants something turned off, they will ask you to kill it. If you are being told to kill something, it is generally going to be a light and it is going to need to be powered down. To kill something is not to 86 it, right? We're not going to remove it, but we will turn it off. 86ing is not killing, okay? Two very different things. It is important to understand the difference. Striking can also mean to turn something off. So if you are confused, again, ask for clarifications. That way you're not just turning a light off when they want it removed, or you're not removing something when they simply want it turned off. If you're asked what your ETA is, that is your estimated time of arrival, generally, again, going back to speed being important. If somebody's asking your ETA, it is because they need the thing quickly and they're wondering how long it will take to get that thing wherever it needs to be. Bogeys are people who should not be on the film set, passersby, gawkers, or people who aren't in a particular department, especially if it's on a closed set. So if somebody is asking to remove a bogey, that is simply somebody is there that shouldn't be there. Go get them. They don't need to be here. The last thing, when you are done and you are either leaving set or you're turning your walkie off, you need to say that you are stepping off. Stepping off lets people know that you are leaving and you are no longer going to be able to be reached via radio. And those are the basics of walkie conversation, right? It's not everything. There's a lot more that goes into it, but that is going to give you the foundation on which you can build on, and it's going to allow you to get into film sets more quickly and understand really what's going on. Thanks again to Hollyland for sponsoring this video. If you do want to check out the Solidcom C1 system for yourself, I have links down below to that. If you liked this video, if you learned something about lingo, if you want to see more stuff like this, do two favors for me. One, hit the like button. Two, hit subscribe if you haven't already. More videos like this will be coming out, and comment down below if there's something in particular that you want to watch, because I want to make sure that I'm making content that you want to see. And as always, I'll see you in the next episode.